Aside from our intelligence and ability to throw things, humans climb to the top of the food chain with our unique ability to sweat efficiently. But how is such a simple ability able to help us become the apex predators? In this video, we will go over why we sweat, how we sweat, and how our sweat is different from other animals that also sweat. First off, why do we sweat anyways? Sweat, being mostly water, is actually our body's way of cooling down. The evaporation of water is an endothermic reaction, meaning that it is a reaction that absorbs heat. So, as the water in sweat evaporates, it soaks up our body's heat around it and becomes water vapor that leaves our bodies. The water in sweat is essentially a quick way to transfer our excess heat to somewhere else, cooling us down in the process. A part of our brain called the hypothalamus is responsible for maintaining our body temperature, which is around 37 degrees. So, whenever our body temperature is a bit too high, in the case of a hot day or a fever, our hypothalamus releases a signal to start sweating. Some other functions include getting rid of small amounts of toxic waste, being a skin moisturizer, and most surprisingly, as part of our immune system. Sweat includes a small amount of dermcidin, an antibiotic. This kills a lot of bacteria that lands on our skin, making sweat one of our first lines of defense in our immune system. And of course, we sweat when we get nervous too. As our heart rate increases, more adrenaline is released, which actually triggers our sweat glands to produce more sweat. Speaking of sweat glands, how do they work? We have two types of sweat glands inside the dermis layer of our skin, acrine and epicrine. Acrine sweat glands are the most common, as we have around 2 to 4 million of those all over our skin, mostly in our palms and soles. These glands produce sweat directly onto our skin via pores, in contrast to epicrine sweat glands, which are bigger but less common, and they secrete sweat into hair follicles, such as on our face and scalp. The sweat that the epicrine produces is rich in lipids, giving us our unique scents. This scent is crucial to social situations and sexual selection in humans. On a related note, the foul odor of sweat actually comes from the bacteria that feeds on the lipids in our sweat. In areas of high concentration of hair follicles, such as armpits, more bacteria are present here, making us smell sweaty in those spots. A simple shower will do the trick though. So now, why is our sweat so impressive? Many other animals sweat too, such as hippos and horses, or have different methods of cooling down. Dogs pant their tongues while vultures pee on their feet. The main difference between our sweat and other animals is that we are just better and more efficient. Being hairless, we have significantly more sweat glands than any other animal. This simple adaptation allowed us to keep hunting and gathering even in the hottest summer days, whereas the other animals are forced to stay inactive in the shade. We also have much higher stamina, as despite being a lot slower than say a deer, we don't overheat as easily. Fast prey are forced to stop running and pant to cool down, whereas we're able to keep running thanks to sweating and eventually hunt down any prey. And there we have it. Sweating is caused by excess heat, nervousness, and many other causes, which is quickly dealt with via the sweat glands in our body. By releasing sweat onto our skin, we're able to cool off easily while fortifying our defenses against bacteria. This simple adaptation is a superpower in the animal kingdom, allowing us to hunt efficiently and carrying us to the top of the food chain. I hope that y'all have learned something interesting today. Thank you for watching, and stay hydrated.